as a social media manager, and every social media manager out there knows that you have to be patient, you have to be understanding, and you have to be willing to work around what those guidelines are and what people are looking for.
Become an extension of their brand, become a voice for them, and to be able to create content that speaks in the way that they want their brand to be shown.
You're working for a major Formula One business that's putting out these amazing technology today. How cool is that?
By the way, I feel like when marketers learn how to sell and salespeople learn how to market, then it's domination at that point.
There's going to be this organic growth, whatever you want to call them, a social media team.
If your company isn't focusing on social media
You're in
that
trouble.
spotlight, you're in trouble.
Absolutely.
Because that is where so much marketing is falling, and that's where everybody's eyes are. It's not on the billboards. It's right there on everybody's
It's also not on the
phones.
sales team anymore because nobody's answering the damn phone. And by the way, marketing departments have oversaturated the email, so AI is allowing people to. We are back. This is the Breaking Barriers podcast powered by S.O.A.R. My name is John Morris, and I'm here once again with the one and only Brian P. Swift. He is the Quadfather. How are you today?
I am wonderful, I am blessed, and I am ready to rock and roll again with another amazing guest that is young, intelligent, beautiful on the inside and outside, and understands rules, life, and so many things that I believe the young generation is missing.
Yeah, and by the
we're gonna
way,
talk about that.
we're creating a video podcast right now, which is going to be chopped up into multiple clips and put out on social media. So perhaps you're seeing a clip right now. We're here with the one and only Mia Meltzer, who actually is a social media manager, started her own company very early on, and is doing a whole bunch of brilliant things. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so happy to be here with the Quad God.
Let's go. The
Thank you.
Quadfather
The
in the house.
Quadfather.
Let's
Hello.
go.
I've
But
been
you know what?
called-
I think we're rebranding it to the Quad God.
I think the
that's
Quad
a
God
whole.
is way better.
That's which father are you referring to?
you know
All
what?
of them.
I can't take that name.
No.
But we did come up. We should have named
The Quadcast.
The Quadcast.
The Quadcast.
So we gave it away.
But we're already on our
Oh,
second name. We can't be at 3 names that quick.
No,
Yeah.
it's never too late.
All right.
I
Next
know.
season, it's the Quadcast.
Let's talk about
We'll
it.
see.
Let's
No,
talk
Or
about
we'll
it.
just do a separate one where you just talk. And I'll
you
just
gonna do?
be behind the camera.
Please.
All right, fine.
You can't
fair
be
enough.
quiet. Mia, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And we were blessed to have Mia's father here, and I'm not going to go into who he is, but she comes from a line of blood that is amazing. And Mia, I'm going to start by asking you a question nobody should ask a young woman. How old are you?
I am 24 years old. I'm about 5 months away from turning 25.
So you're still 24.
Yes. Who's counting?
All the way there. All the way there.
I have closed 24 years old. That being said,
Well, it might be time for an upgrade, Brian.
it don't look bad. No.
That's
He
all right.
said it, not me.
A few stains.
You're on an amazing journey for a young woman that has started several businesses, has been successful in what you're doing now in a world of social media, when like that is the world we're living, whether people like it or not, whether old people like us like it or not, it is the world. And if you are not dipping your toes into it right now, you are going to be so far behind. Even the Quadfather, you will be behind me in social media. So what got you started? So social media has been a part of your life. What got you thinking, make a job, make a business, become an entrepreneur? What got you going in that direction?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from a very young age, I always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I was the one with a lemonade stand every single weekend. I think my
Yes.
neighbors were almost sick of having to give me their $1
They're getting
bills.
cavities left and right.
Exactly. There was a point in time where my sisters and I were making duct tape wallets and selling them at school. I think I once got in trouble for like trying to make profit off of items at school. I was always trying to sell things. I was president of my class throughout elementary, middle, and
Let's
high
go.
school. I think I always enjoyed holding leadership positions. I always enjoyed, delegating. I always enjoyed being a leadership amongst my community. And so I think both myself and my parents knew from a very young age that I would be an entrepreneur. But as for the social media side of things, I always loved to be in front of a camera. When it came to YouTube, my sisters and I were creating our own TV shows when
So cool.
YouTube was just a thing. And then obviously we had Vine, was a big platform back in the day. moving on to Instagram. I think I was like one of their first users when the app came out. I was
Wow.
posting every single day. Obviously, I wasn't anything big on there, but I'd say the first thing that really had me dabbling was in college. TikTok became a platform. And at first, I wasn't that interested in posting on there. And I'm not sure if you guys know this, but TikTok actually maneuvered from another platform.
I can't remember the name, but I know
I'm
you're
blanking on the name of
Yeah.
it now, but Musically. Mm-hmm. It's called Musically, which was more music-based, and people would
A lot
do
of
these-
lip syncing
Yeah, a lot
and-
of lip syncing going on, and so I never used that platform. So when TikTok came along, I wasn't that interested. But eventually, during COVID, I started posting a little bit, and when I went back to college, there was a lot of people I followed on the app who made these videos, posting TikTok hauls, clothing shopping hauls. And as somebody who was a chronic online shopper and just loved watching those videos, I was like, you know what? I want to make videos like that. Long story short, these videos blow up. I gained some followers, and I was like, wow, I really enjoy doing this. Clearly, people enjoy
want to hear what I have to say.
Exactly. And that's when I started learning the algorithm. Okay, these hooks work, these hooks don't. People like to see these things. People don't like to see these things. And that's kind of when I figured out, okay, maybe I could make a career out of this. And, now I know how to run my own platform. Can I figure out how to run somebody else's platform and, monetize
Become
off
an
of it?
extension of their brand, become a voice for them, like take on their voice for them, and to be able to write the copy.
Absolutely.
And to be able to create content that speaks in the way that they want their brand to be shown.
Absolutely.
It's kind of an art form. There's
It
like
is.
a system to it, but there's an art to it. So talk a little bit about how you developed those skills. You did it as a personal brand first, but as a personal brand, you have authority over it because you can kind of do whatever the heck you want to do. But when you're doing it for somebody else, they have brand guidelines and they have a brand identity and a message, and you have to latch onto that. Talk a little bit about how you do that.
Absolutely. And it can be tough because every client that you work for and every account and brand and person or any type of thing on social media that you are changing and running, they're going to expect something different. So as a social media manager, and every social media manager out there knows that you have to be patient, you have to be understanding, and you have to be willing to work around what those guidelines are and what people are looking for. But within those skill sets, I think that knowing how to copyright was the most important thing for me. I started copywriting very early into college. I was always a good writer growing up, so I took those skills with me. But learning how to look at a brand and tell that story, look at a person, if it's a person's account, like a personal brand that you're running, and tell their story is the most important thing that you can do for an account, because sometimes it's really just the messaging, like you said, that isn't being shared the right way. But the second that you can learn how to tell that story or spread that message in the proper way, it's game over. And that's when you see that shift on your social media. And for me, with AI, it's a whole new game.
Mia, quick question. Was there anything in college that prepared you to do what you're doing?
Oh, absolutely. Shout out to my alma mater. I went to Indiana University.
Oh,
so
national champ!
I'm a
So you had
national champ.
Did you celebrate like it was 1999 or what?
I did. I went
Nice.
to 2 out of 3 of the playoff games,
awesome.
and I only cried the whole entire time that
sorry.
I was
I
there.
can imagine.
It was seriously the most incredible
I mean,
moment.
talk about
Oh
a
my-
Cinderella story.
It was
unreal.
amazing.
It was amazing, and I didn't go there.
That's
and
what
I
I'm
had
saying.
tears in
the
my
whole,
eyes.
the whole
I mean,
world
I
was
didn't go
rooting for
there.
Indiana.
Everybody, and I thought that it was just my friends and I who Fernando Mendoza's name was coming out of our mouth every 5 minutes. But I quickly realized, everyone and their mother are talking about Fernando Mendoza.
Well, because
Absolutely.
he's the type
he's
of
a first round draft pick.
He's
right
going to
now.
be the first
Yeah.
picked, but he's also the type of human. If I had daughters, I'd be like, you go talk to him, please.
He's
amazing.
humble.
Humble.
He's-
He gives it all to God.
Yes.
He gives it all
Yes.
to
My
his
God,
mother.
yes.
He's gracious. Gratitude is just
Absolutely.
bleeding out of him.
You watch a person like that on TV, on your phone, even in person, as I was at these games watching him give those speeches, and you, like you said, you were just like, wow, that
You're
is
enamored,
a person.
and you're
I want to
rooting
be your
for them.
friend. I'm rooting for you. Like, that is, someone said it next to me too, and I was thinking the same thing. Like, that is somebody I will watch for the rest of their career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For the rest of their career, whether you are a football player, an entrepreneur, a doctor,
Doesn't matter.
whatever it is that he
Whatever
chooses to
team
do.
he's on, I'm a diehard
his.
Bears fan, but I'm rooting for him.
I'm on his.
Until
You know
he's
the
playing the Bears. Then he needs to throw 7 interceptions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Gotta have
get
one
sacked
bad
14
day.
times.
One bad day
Yeah,
occasionally.
one bad day. Just
you know,
say,
you
and by the
learn-
way, in the cycle, they'll only play once every 4 years. So, just have that be your 7 interception game.
Yes.
Yes.
And you
And
learn
then-
more from losing than you do winning. So
Yeah.
this
This
will
is
help
true.
him get better when he loses to
This
us.
is
I'm
true.
curious, Mia, when you're managing the social media for another company, for a brand, and you're working with a big brand that's got a big recognition, representing Formula One, right? Okay, so this is pretty cool stuff. But they're also probably very strict as to what they want their messaging to be. On the other hand, you're a creative. You know
Yes.
the trends. You know what's happening. Talk a little bit about the pushback and how maybe you have to push back sometimes and say and hold the line of creativity and be like, look, I understand this is the guidelines, but we might have to push a little bit here and maybe go around that a little bit because this is what's trending. And if you want to be seen, you want to create attention for your brand, we are going to have to do it this way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, I run social media for F1 Arcade. We are licensed by Formula One.
Awesome.
So, as the social media manager, every single post that I create has to be ran through and approved by Formula One. So
how far out in advance are you?
So it just depends on the week. For me, I try to get everything out about 2 weeks prior
Yeah.
to when I'd like to
Yeah.
post it. With that being said, it makes it very difficult to be reactive on social media. And if you know strategy, you know that one of the most important parts of a strategy is being reactive. A time that we saw that on social media was when Taylor Swift announced her new album. I don't know if you guys are Swifties, but Taylor Swift announced her new
DeAndre
album.
Swift.
Yes.
All right, I'll take it.
For the
Ryan
Bears.
Swift.
Taylor Swift. I don't know if you're Travis Kelce fans. His beautiful fiance,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. She announced her album on social media, and within 5 seconds, there was this trend across social media where brands were kind of putting their vibe, their logo, their face on this album
Yeah.
that she had promoted. And
Riding
it's this,
it, yeah.
It's this green and orange album, and the issue that we were facing is that where we can't be that reactive because we're gonna have to create it, we're gonna have to send it to. So with that being said, something that we've really had to work through and that I've had to work through in my position is, one, you have to pick and choose your battles because at the end of the day, you want to fight everything, right? Like
Yeah.
you want to be like, I know what's best and I want to do this and I want to do
Come
that.
on, I'm the
But
creative.
exactly. In creatives' minds, our brains move a
This will
million.
work, I promise.
Yes, and our brains move a million miles per hour. But one, you have to pick and choose your battles. And then when it comes to that, you have to negotiate and you have to be like, all right, here's what we can do. For an example, when we are launching a new venue opening, we want to post the night of an event before the opening. We host these big VIP parties the night before our big opening, but I want to post content that night as it's happening.
Yeah, documentary
So-
style.
Exactly. So something, an agreement that we came to is the week before the event, I kind of send them, a little layout of an inspiration of what I think I'm going to post. And that's a way that we've kind of worked around those
What a
guidelines.
great idea, yeah.
And so those are different ways that we can kind of push the boundaries. And I think that when it comes to working with clients that have different boundaries, you just have to negotiate and you have to work together because at the end of the day, everybody has their boundaries when it comes to social media. And you don't want anything to be posted on the internet when and have your client be uncomfortable because as we all know, whatever is
Blow up
posted,
quick.
it's there forever,
Oh,
and it can blow up quick. And some things are left never seen, but it can be. And so you just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with what is being shared. And so you just want to, you want to come to an agreement on those things.
I'm impressed that she talked about picking your battles, choosing your
Yeah,
battles.
it's brilliant.
I mean, I know 40 and 50-year-olds that don't understand, and I learned it as a parent. As a parent, you cannot always be on it, or as an athletic coach, you have to choose your battles.
Yeah.
And it is an important skill to realize it's not always about winning and losing sometimes. It's sometimes about giving on this. It's like a chess match, right?
Yeah.
So I might let you have my pawn now, but I'm going to come
Yeah.
back and I'm going to take your rook at some point in time.
In all aspects of life. I think as I've kind of grown up, especially that 22 to 24 range, for me, I graduated at 21 and now I'm, almost 25. That 4-year range for me, that's really when
big
I've
jump.
learned. It is a big jump, and it doesn't sound like it. And
It
for you
is.
guys, I'm sure.
No, it
you
is
know,
because you.
exponential.
But it is, and to me, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is you have to pick and choose your battles. You can't fight in both personally and
relationships,
professionally,
whether
right?
it's a man and woman or a
Yeah.
mom and a kid or a dad and a kid or
Exactly.
friends even. Like, you're not going to agree. You're going to want to do different things, but figure out which one really.
Yeah.
You know,
Friend of mine, Brian Floriani, says you could be right or you could be in a
Yeah.
relationship.
I love that.
and it's true. The other one is you could be right or you could be happy.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
mean,
too.
sometimes you can't be both.
You can't.
So you're working for a major Formula One business that's putting out these amazing, in the technology today, the amazing ability to sit in a simulation and drive.
I mean,
how cool is that?
By the way, there's some racers that actually got onto the circuit by working some of those simulators. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I
Yeah.
think there's I don't know if there's a driver in NASCAR, but I think there's one in
of
Formula
them all
One as
over
well.
Formula One, NASCAR.
Where like they didn't grow up, like most of the drivers grow up doing go-karts and then they kind of advance
their
and then
way.
they work their skills up. But there are some drivers now that have literally never driven other than simulators, and then they throw them in a car and they time as well as some of the, and now they're winning races.
Just think, we're going to have pilots doing that. Doesn't
Yeah.
that make you comfortable?
No.
Said no one ever.
Yeah.
No.
So let me ask you this: where do you see yourself? Let's go 2 years or 5 years. What goal do you have goals set for yourself?
Absolutely. I think professionally within this company, we are vastly growing across the U.S. We've actually also started franchising. We have a location opening up in Madrid and
Whoa.
Australia and potentially in other countries and locations as well. So that's really exciting. But within the U.S., we have a Chicago location opening up this summer and hopefully some really exciting locations in 2027. So just within the last year of me joining, we've gone from 2 locations to now almost 7 within the U.S. So
Outstanding.
as the social media manager, I would love to grow a social content team. I think that looking back in the last, 20 years, you've watched companies go from having marketing teams to slowly expanding to having marketing teams to maybe creative teams, and now you're
Brand
watching
champions, I call them.
Exactly. And now you're really watching these different teams grow into having their own kind of department just for socials. Because I think we can all agree if your company isn't focusing on social media,
You're in
that
trouble.
spotlight, you're in trouble. Because
Absolutely.
that is where so much marketing is falling, and that's where everybody's eyes are. It's not on the billboards. It's right there on everybody's
It's also not on the
phones.
sales team anymore because nobody's
No.
answering the damn phone. And by the
No.
way, marketing departments have oversaturated the email. So AI is allowing people to write copy, these crazy graphic, long-winded emails that people are sending. They're sending 30,000 a week. None of us can get through the damn email,
So
and
hard.
we end up unsubscribing instead.
have
It's
to.
actually a bad thing. So we don't want to take the phone call from the strangers calling up and asking for our most precious commodity, which is time. We don't want to read the email because, quite honestly, I don't want a 5-minute read. I'm moving and shaking. And third, I want to know, like, and trust somebody before I ever meet them. So I want to quiet by. I want to slowly watch what you do. And when I'm ready, I want to tell you I'm ready. And I want you to be there for me when I'm ready.
Exactly.
So I think what's happening for people like you that are in this game early on is I have a feeling social media teams are going to be part of marketing teams, part of the sales team, and they're going to become the kind of this mold of the two. I feel like when marketers learn how to sell and salespeople learn how to market, then it's domination at that
Yeah.
point.
There's going to be this organic growth, whatever you want to call them, a social media team. I know you had your name for it, but there almost has to be this
Growth
organic
teams.
growth of
It's just a growth team, a brand growth
I
team.
love that name. Yeah.
you can use it.
Yeah, I'll steal it. Guys, we need a growth team.
Yeah, but
I love it.
don't
But
you
it's
see
true.
that?
I mean,
don't
it
you
is.
see that as an organization, like you're running a social media team?
Yes.
And it's like, all right, we need a team of influencers, we need a team of designers,
Yeah.
we need a team of copywriters,
Yeah.
and it's like, all right, which team could beat? Who's going to come up
Yeah.
with the best idea?
And you already see companies kind of doing it,
Yeah.
and you can even see it on LinkedIn as you like are watching companies hiring in different spots. You're like, okay, like I see that you're trying to build this team out over here, and I see that you're trying to build that over there. So it's really interesting watching those dynamics change as years go on, because even when I started college back in 2019, which sounds like it was yesterday, but also now almost 7
Sounds
years
like
ago.
forever ago.
Right. And I told someone, oh, I'm in the Indiana University Media School. And someone's like, what is it? What even happens there? Like, I don't even understand. Yeah. And I was talking about the classes that are offered there. And I was explaining this to, family, friends and family members and whatever. And some people were just so confused about like what could possibly be going on in the media school. And now it is one of the most, renowned schools in the country. And the things that I've learned there have now helped me, going back to one of your questions, it has now helped me get to where I am today. And it's just so crazy how quickly things have grown since then as well.
You want to land in an interview? Get media trained.
Yeah.
You want to manage people and be able to lead a group of people from the start to the end, which is, vision, mission, and achievement. Be media trained, because you can control a room. I'm really curious, though. But we know this because obviously podcasting, we create a lot of content. It's very difficult to come up with ideas. So how do you get into that creative space? Because the algorithms call for you to put content out daily, sometimes multiple times a day. You're 2 weeks ahead, except for when you have that really creative idea and you need to hit the trends. But how do you find that inspiration? What do you do? What rhythm or what exercises do you go through to get into that creative space to be able to come up with an idea that's going to hit so you can fill those algorithms every day?
Yeah, I think the long form answer to that is I need a clear head, because when you're creative all the time, and then you're in meetings and this, you need a clear head. So when it comes time to those longer form plans, whether it's coming up with the content plan for how we're going to launch Chicago to the Chicago locals, or, the bigger campaigns, I need a clear head. So the longer form answer to that is I need to go outside. Another great way that I brainstorm is with others. I live with two people who do the same exact thing as me. They manage social media.
Awesome.
So it is like fire in a room. Like we just start bouncing. So what about this? What about this? And that is where we thrive. Like
so you already have your own little mastermind.
We have a mastermind group going on every night after dinner.
Can I get invited to this?
Right?
What's going on?
It's on fire in the kitchen, and we are just literally just bouncing off each other, and we are all extremely creative people. So that is definitely kind of where I go, and it goes back to something I learned from my dad, and that's one, surround yourself with the right people and the right ideas, and two, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And it's one of the most important things I learned, and I wouldn't say I've always lived with and surrounded myself with the right people and the right ideas, but and I'm not saying that you need to live with people who do the exact same thing as you, or you need to be friends with people who do this exact same job as you, but living in this environment, especially in my early 20s, with people who kind of share that creative side, just like I do, has been so inspiring for me. So I would say,
I love that you say that.
That's awesome.
It has been wonderful.
I say that there's two types of people that you should want to be around, either people that inspire you or people that you can inspire.
I love that.
And there's no reason for you really to give a whole lot of your time to anyone otherwise, because you got a lot of doubters, people that will bring you down, challenge you all the time. It's like, either be inspired or let be inspired. You know what I mean?
I think your dad said it. People are either going to feed you or bleed you.
And
we have learned to be tolerant of people that bleed us, but at some point, you've got to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
So what would you tell, and man, this sounds funny, just I'm thinking about it, what would you tell your 21 self you looking back that you know now? So you're almost 25. What advice would you give to a 21-year-old
Or your
self?
own, you at 21.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think, well, one, going off of that statement, there's people who bleed you and there's people who feed you. You don't have to let everybody, bleed you. I think that, especially being a young entrepreneur, it is so hard to advocate for yourself sometimes. And sometimes I've been waiting. And this has just been in the last year I've started to learn from this, but sometimes I sit around waiting for others to advocate for me. And, I'm like, why aren't they advocating for me? Why aren't people speaking up for me? If you do not advocate for yourself,
What a great lesson.
nobody is going to advocate for you. You need to be your own advocate. You need to be your biggest advocate.
You got to be your biggest promoter too.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so I think that going back and looking at 21-year-old Mia, I think I sat around a lot just waiting and letting a lot of people bleed me. I was raised to think I could do absolutely anything, and I've been so blessed to be fed with so many wonderful opportunities, and I think I let a lot of people kind of bleed me of those opportunities and kind of take away the happiness of those opportunities. And I think I'm now at a phase in my life where I only ride with the people who feed into those.
Your ride or dies.
Good for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
And, advocating is a learned skill.
It's
I
hard.
mean, it is not. It comes with maturity.
There's adults,
It comes with tough lessons.
50
I had to
olds.
learn it when I broke my neck at 17.
Yeah.
I had to learn that doctors did not know what my condition was, and I had to go in at 19 and 20, 22 and educate doctors on what a quadriplegic is. Now, talk to doctors. They don't like to be told stuff that by a guy in a wheelchair, stuff that I don't know if they should know it or not know it, but they're not friendly when you're telling an MD
No.
what my condition. But you know what? If I didn't do it, my life would have been miserable, absolutely miserable. So it is a skill I wish they taught in college.
Yeah, and I think that looking back on all the times I didn't advocate for myself, I think my life could have been completely different. I think about all the different places I could have ended up, and I'm so lucky that this is the exact seat I'm sitting in at this very moment in
Yeah.
time.
That's awesome.
And
Own
things
your
could be
moment,
a lot different,
right?
exactly. But
Own the
moving
now.
forward, I will be my biggest advocate.
But you might not be an advocate today if you didn't go through those tough lessons,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So, it is those hard times, those lessons that send us on that divine direction, as your dad would definitely say, that bring us to a point where you can sit here now and hold your head up and say, I am my best advocate.
100%.
That wouldn't have maybe happened if you didn't take those bumps and bruises.
No, and I think I'm the strongest form of my best advocate because of everything that I've been through and all the times I've been knocked down due to not knowing how to advocate for
Speaking of
myself.
that, the name of the podcast is Breaking Barriers, powered by SOAR. Final question.
Yeah.
Tell us a time where there was an obstacle, something in your way, something that you were really doubtful, and you had to break through, you had to break that barrier to get to where you're sitting right now, which is very positive, articulate, and ready to take on the world. So talk a little bit about how you've had to break barriers.
Yeah, I think that about almost a year ago, I was going through a really hard time. I had been living in Chicago for about a year at this point. I'd been doing freelance social media management. I was kind of my own boss, but I was, I was at a point in life. I was about a year and a half out of college, and I just felt so unfulfilled in everything I was doing. I was not loving what I was doing in terms of, work. It wasn't the actual work that I was doing. I think it was, who
Something was missing.
Yeah, something was missing, and then just the lifestyle I was living. I don't think I was taking care of myself physically or mentally, and I think I just could have done a better job of just living.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of when I decided to go and get this new job, and I just made a lot of different life changes.
Yeah.
And then I made those changes, and I feel like I almost even took steps further back, because my whole life changed even more.
Well,
I
that
went
J
from-
curve. Right?
Exactly. I went from.
You got to go down to go up.
I always say you have to take. It's almost like a step back to take two steps forward, and every setback is a setup for something greater in life.
Whoa. Did you hear that?
Every setback is a setup for something greater.
Love
and
that.
So when I had kind of started, I wanted to take action on my life, and my parents were like, if you are so sad and you are so upset with everything that's going on and you are facing all these barriers, do something about it. You've always made shit happen, make shit happen. So I did. I got a new job. I got the gym membership. I started going outside because it was summer at this point. And I started doing all these things. But like you said, it felt like I had kind of gone back. The job felt really scary for a second. I was very overwhelmed. It was my first corporate 9-to-5 job. There was a lot of changes going on. I was so overwhelmed. I felt like I was trying to take care of my health, but things were getting worse. And then all of a sudden, this shift happened.
This
Yeah.
divine direction.
This divine direction happened.
An awakening.
I started getting really good at my job, and there was clarity there, and I started feeling really good in my skin, and I started making new friends in the city, and it genuinely just felt like everything started to align at the same time. And it just made me realize 3 lessons I learned from this moment. One is if you need something to change in your life, you can't just sit there and complain about it and call everybody in your phone book and talk about it. You are the only one who can do something about it.
Yes.
And you have to take action. It's not going to fall into your lap. It's not going to fall into your LinkedIn inbox. There is divine, action that takes place, but you need to make those things happen. I do believe that God kind of leads you in the right path, but you need to talk to him first, and you need to take the right steps to get there. The second thing I learned is you have to be patient. I think that sometimes I was so used to okay, I did it. Okay, why am I not feeling better now? Or why isn't my job amazing now? I had to put in the work. And then 3 is just gratuity, and all of it is just to be grateful. I think that the second I learned, I was feeling so stressed within this job and not feeling good in my skin, and all of these things were happening. And I think that the moment I really physically kind of took a step back and looked at this bigger picture, I'm like, wow, I live in one of the most beautiful cities in the country, and I have one of the coolest jobs ever. Every time I tell someone about it, they're like, wow, that sounds incredible, and it truly is, and I just feel so blessed. I wake up every morning so healthy, and I really am healthy, and so I am happy. And so I just, taking that step back and putting everything into perspective, I think for me was really that shift. And those barriers sucked for moments, but looking back on it, I think they have made me who I am now, and for the better.
And sometimes we have to embrace the suck.
Yeah.
And that's where
You
that
gotta feel
patience
it.
comes in.
You gotta feel it.
Absolutely. There's no pain, there's no gain. I didn't make the rule. I don't like the rule, but it is a universal rule.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, like one of our guests, Chris. And you have to embrace the suck occasionally and work through it. And that's where the patience comes in. And that is just something that's with all of us. So
the
what's
journey
great
is the
insights?
destination. The journey is the
Absolutely.
destination. Live in the present. And by the way, you radiate confidence, and it shows you're glowing. You should be really, really proud of yourself. You're on a mission, and I know so many people have your back and are supporting you, but you're also paving your own way. It's really great to see that you're breaking barriers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. That is Mia Meltzer. That is Brian P. Swift. He is the Quadfather. I am John Morris. Thank you for tuning in. Like, follow, subscribe, and definitely follow Mia Meltzer. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.